right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for episode 5 of Lexus Complex, and I am here at the home of the former Vice President of Operations here in the OEW, Tiesa Piers, the badass bitch herself. And you know what, Tiesa, before I get this thing started right now, I just got to tell you, I still don't like you, but I got a job that I got to do.
Feelings mutual, buddy, because I don't like you either.
All right, so if that's the case, let's get this show on the road, shall we? First thing everybody wants to know. Let's get a little bit of back history on you. You appeared in the wrestling scene back in 2010. Can you tell us a little bit of when you started and how everything went?
So when I started the OEW, I came in as a manager for Bikers of Apocalypse. And as time went on, I decided I could do better without them. So I threw Damien Hex off the stage, and I let Destined take care of Wolf Chinara. And from there, I went on and started wrestling in OEW and gave up being a manager.
Okay.
From there, it just turned out that I was just that damn good. I won the belt. And I had to deal with that pesky little Nita Prater.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned Nina, because I actually had her last week on the show, and we did discuss you a little bit. But right now, Nina's got a lot of problems with Honey Potts. But we'll get to Nina in just a little while. So, all right. So you made the scene. 2010. You were in the OEW. You managed the two biker guys, Damien Hex and Wolf, and you went on to a solo singles career in the women's division in the OEW. So can you tell our audience how many times have you officially held the women's championship belt in the OEW? Which, by the way, before you go there, just to give everybody a quick history lesson, the women's division at that time was known as the Vixens division.
Right. So apparently, I think I had that title about 4 times. I had the women's featherweight title once, and when I left OEW or OEW shut down, I still had that title.
So wait, so when OEW shut down, you actually walked out with the Vixens title?
Of course I did. I even wore it to the ring. Like, why would I still have the title if it wasn't mine?
Wow. And can you tell us how did that come about? Like, you know, I've never heard of a company shutting down and somebody walking away with their championship belts. Usually you get fined for that. How did that happen?
The company shut down. Like, there was nobody to take my belt back.
Okay.
So the belt went with me.
I hear
where
a cat.
It's been all this time.
Do you have a cat? Because I'm hearing a cat in the background.
Of course I got a cat.
Okay, don't tell me you're like Trixie. But, okay, so, Tiesa, so you took the belt with you, you disappeared. But I got some notes here. And in my notes it says you actually worked for Hawks for a little while. And also over at Intense Wrestling. And I think you may have done a brief stint in DCWF and even VWE. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I went to DCWF first.
Okay.
After OEW was gone. Mm-hmm. And I spent a very small portion of time there. The management and I butted heads. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
So a friend of mine that I met through DCWF coaxed me into going to Hawks. And it was an amazing career. I carried their women's hardcore title for a year. I was also a tag team champion there. and I went to retire from Hawks. But after I retired, I wasn't ready to retire. So I decided to go to VWE. But they wanted to treat me like I was some kind of newbie, and they decided to put me into their training school, which, um, yeah, I don't need trained.
Okay.
So I left.
So you left. Okay, so you left the VWE because they were trying to put you into their special program. So where did you go after VWE?
I retired.
You
I
retired.
spent time with my family.
Okay. So that's a good segue. So you spent a good time with your family. OEW closed in 2013, but came back early 2021. So within that time period, where were you hiding at in the world? What happened leading you up to this point where we're at right now, like during that time period?
So that's where I tell you my personal life is private.
Okay.
You can move on to the next question.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, Tiesa, you have a really big match coming up this Sunday. You have been in this ongoing feud with our current Vice President of Operations, Paul Slater. And it's been nothing but back and forth between the two of you. As a matter of fact, it looks very familiar from personal experience that I have with somebody as well. But anyway, we're not going to get into that right now. So, what is your hope to accomplish this Sunday going into Ascension after you may or may not defeat Paul Slater? What is your mindset right now?
What do you mean by may or may not? I had Paul Slater last time, and I will beat him this time. There is one small technical difficulty, and I took care of her last week. So, Paul isn't going to walk away as the
Mm-hmm.
VP of Operations anymore. He's not the most intelligent crown in the box.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He couldn't defeat me before, and he definitely cannot defeat me now.
Wow. Wow. Well, you mentioned Mama T. What do you have to say about Mama T? Like, how do you feel about Mama T? Were you disappointed that she got involved in your business?
Look, I don't know that little hillbilly bumper nickel whatever she is that likes to play in the swamps with alligators. Okay? She can go right back onto that little swamp in her little turn of the mill, small town, blink through it, podunk area of the world that she came from.
Wow.
And we can just keep on forgetting that she even exists.
Okay. Well, so let's talk about a very controversial topic that's been going around for a while. Um, so I'm looking at my notes here, and in 2020, a mysterious figure by the name of El Jefe entered the wrestling scene. Now, he was previously involved in another organization that we will not mention today. And recently, as of last year, he bought the OEW from beneath our previous owner, Jedrick Leotis. What is your connection with you and El Jefe? Because obviously he holds you to a higher standing if he brought you back and put you in the VP of Operations position originally.
So, not like those other morons that make assumptions on how I worked my way to the top of the ladder. We won't go there about the idiots that wrestle for OEW and make, degrading comments about women in companies, but I will tell you this:
Hmm.
El Jefe has become family, and that goes into my personal life. And again, that is private.
Okay. And what is your relationship with the Samoan thug or Samoan savage? He's got many different personas. We noticed some moons ago you were managing the big Samoan. What is your connection between the two of you?
We work together. Duh.
Right.
He is El Jefe's henchman.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, oh. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, you make a good point there, Tiesa. You definitely make a good point. So let's go back to your absence from the world of professional wrestling. And obviously, you said a lot of the things that went on back then is very personal, and I don't want to dig too much. But while you were away from the world of professional wrestling, did you ever have the thought about possibility maybe coming back, either to a new incarnation of the OEW or to another promotion? Did you ever think about that?
You don't want to dig, but you keep mentioning my past.
Well, I mean,
So
I'm a
at the
broadcast
end of the
journalist. I
day,
have to
at
ask
the end of the
questions.
day, at the end of the day, Mr. Umaga, the only thing that you need to know is that I'm here now. It doesn't matter what I did when I wasn't in people's eyesight.
Okay. Well, tough crowd. All right. Well, let's move along then. So let's talk about somebody that you've had dealings with in the past, Nina Prater. Nina has just recently surfaced, and she was gone from a long, for a good absence for a good while, at least probably about 6 years. Uh, you want to give us any thoughts about Nina and her return back?
Maybe she was working on her family farm, getting her hands dirty, doing what she's supposed to do. Play a little like housewife to God only knows whom, what, when, or where. Just she needs to go back to where she came from.
Wow. Wow. Well, when Nina was on the program last week, she says that she believes that OEW is a sense of family, and it's also competition. Do you agree with those statements?
No, I'm sorry. They're not my family. Okay, first off. And competition, there's nothing worth competing for me. I'm already the best. I always have been the best.
Wow. And where did you? So let me ask you this: where did you earn the nickname the badass bitch? Where did that come from?
It came from the fact that I like to pull out my lead pipe and bash people over the head with it. And
Okay.
because of my attitude, and because I don't take no for an answer,
Hmm.
and, well, I don't care whether you're a man or a woman. I'm going to beat you.
Hmm. Wow. So, what do you have to say going in Sunday to Paul Slater? If you had the opportunity right now to tell Paul whatever you wanted to tell him, what would you say to him?
What would I say
Yes.
to little Paulie Slater, Mr. Douchey McDouchebag? Swish, swish, Polly. The helicopter blades go swish, swish.
Look, look, look. You're being a little bit disrespectful now. Let's come on. Let's not drag this here. What would you say to Paul?
If you weren't so rudely with your head stuck up his ass, You would have let me finish saying what I was
No, no,
saying.
no. I'm not the Twitter
No.
guy. I'm not the Twitter guy. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're part of the circle jerk. I forgot. But anyway,
Keep
okay.
dreaming.
You didn't let me finish what I was saying. But you wanted to know what I would say to him. Swish swish goes the helicopter blades. Polly. Tick tock, bitch. Your time is coming.
TikTok, your time is coming. And where did you get the helicopter blade reference from? Where does that come from?
You'll find out just like everybody else soon enough.
All right. So, Tiesa, what do you have to say to the audience tonight? What do you have to say to the OEW, to the locker room? And let's say if you do win and you regain your position back in the OEW, let's just say, what do you have to say to the OEW?
But when I gain my VP back on Sunday, that's very easy. Y'all better watch out. Because I don't play. And these little no good wannabes that got fired beforehand, who think that they can just walk back in because they're kissing somebody else's rear end, yeah, not so easy, pal. I follow the rules, and I work for the boss. I do what he says. So at the end of the day, the boss tells me what to do.
And you just happen to take care of it.
Yeah. Who else would?
All right. And so before I let you go, uh, Tiesa, you have any thoughts on David Hawk Actor? Because it seems like you and our current VP of operations have had similar issues with him. Is it, apparently you fired him. Paul evidently reinstated him, told him to go do comms, but he's not doing comms, and he thinks that he could get the world title shot. What do you have to say about all that?
Well, if Paul was such a smart cookie, he would have left him fired. There was a whole reason why that man was fired. But no, intelligence does not rank here. So at the end of the day, I guess I'm going to have to do the dirty work when I come back next week.
When you come back next week. Okay. Okay. Well, let's play devil's advocate here for a minute. What if Paul defeats you? Are you ready to say goodbye to the OEW?
Oh, sweetheart, I will never say goodbye to the OEW. Mr. Slater forgot to read the fine print back in the day. Thought he fired me once. Oh, you are all so not cute, thinking that Paul's gonna win.
But let's say if he does
Uh-uh.
win. Let's say if he does
Again,
win.
there's no let's say. He's not going to win, and I will make sure of it. Why do you think I said that this match will be a no DQ match?
Wow. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from the badass bitch herself. She says that she's going to win next Sunday. She's full of confidence that she's going to win, and that the OEW Vice President of Operations position will be back with her, and that she's going to act out all the orders that El Jefe has to say. All right, Tiesa. Well, thank you for this interview. Definitely very informative interview. Is there anything else you want to say before cameraman and I leave?
Yeah, your time was up 10 minutes ago. Get out of my house.